From the Opupco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. We're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online to papajohns.com and order your pizza anytime. Time for our 5 and 5 segment. We've got 5 topics, about a minute each for those 5 minutes. We're going to do a theme of scale of 1 to 10, Barry, and we're going to start with this. What's your level of concern on a scale of 1 to 10 about Kevin Durant's injuries?
Really not that high. I'd say about a 3 with Durant. What's interesting is he's had a lot of issues this year below the knee. He had the foot problem that knocked him out the first 7 weeks of the season. Then a sprained ankle. Now he's got a sprained toe. The foot is the big concern, and that's, I think he's recovered from that. You get over a toe, you get over a sprained ankle. The foot is the long-term worry, and there are no signs that is a concern. So I'm not all that concerned. I'll give it a 3, but I want to see him back this week. Well, that 3 goes up to about a 6.
Yeah, I think the immediate level of concern is probably somewhere in the 3 to 4 range, but I got to tell you, sort of looking at it with a broader lens, if you will, my concern level goes probably up to a 6 or so, because to me, when you're talking about a guy who's 6'10", 6'11", who's, putting a lot of strain and stress on his feet. When you think about just the pounding, the joints, the ligaments, the bones, all of those things, and we're starting to see Kevin Durant have trouble in that area. And it's not like he's going to put any less stress and strain on his feet as his career goes on. So you got to hope it's just a blip, but as it goes and keeps being the same type of area of concern, I think it's a little bit higher than that. I'm going to go 6, just from the standpoint of you don't like to see a 6'11" guy have trouble with his wheels. Okay, let's go back to scale of 1 to 10, Barry. Scale of 1 to 10, where is Scott Brooks' job security?
Well, at this point, I think it's pretty low. The concern is still pretty low. I'll say a 2. I don't see the Thunder making any kind of midseason change. The wheels would have to come off. Extended play like we saw in California with the back-to-back blowouts a few weeks ago, but Thunder has sort of gotten better than that. Still not playing great, still not playing all that well, but definitely not disaster mode. I think Brooks' job situation, will be a subject for the off season. So my number's going to go way up in the summer, but for now, pretty low, about a 2.
Well, I might go a little bit higher than that even right now. I don't see the Thunder making a mid-season change because I just don't think you can fire Scott Brooks and put the interim tag on an assistant that's already in place on this staff and think you're going to make things a lot better. If they could make a big difference, they would already be doing it. And so I just don't think that you can automatically say, Robert Pack, you're the interim head coach, go make everything better, and suddenly he can do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think if you're doing a midseason fire, you got to bring in somebody on a full-time basis, and that's so difficult to do midstream because that coach usually doesn't want to do that. But I do think it's maybe more like a 4 because this team has just been so inconsistent. You mentioned those clunkers in California. I guess I could see that happening at any time against anyone. Tough stretch coming up. If the Thunder really falls back and shows no signs of life, I think you could see that job security concern go up and up and up for Scott Brooks. All right, Barry, let's go back to the scale of 1 to 10. Likelihood on a scale of 1 to 10 of the Thunder making the playoffs. This seems like a reoccurring question in some form or fashion on the press row, but where are we today?
My optimism is less than it's ever been because Phoenix is still playing well. New Orleans playing well. The Thunder's got 2 teams to hop and has put themselves in a pretty big hole. I'm still going to give the Thunder about a 60% chance of making the playoffs, but not nearly as likely as it seemed in December or even early January. The schedule turns in Oklahoma City's favor, though. So if the Thunder can find its footing, start playing well, I think they'll breeze into the playoffs. But, we just haven't seen, as you mentioned, we haven't seen that consistency. So I think it might be a struggle all the way into April. I'll give them about a 6.
I'll go 5. I'll go 50-50 chance right now. And you know what? That consistency, if they could just establish some level of this is how they're going to play. I understand Kevin Durant's been in and out of the lineup. I get that. But even when he's been in the lineup, I think the issue of chemistry, motivation, whatever you want to say on the mental side of things has still been a concern for this team. So that's not something that rises and falls on Kevin Durant being available. So I'd say 50-50 at this point. Maybe they kick it into gear and like you say, breeze in, but I still think there's a good chance that we're all finding something to do with our time in May and June. All right, Barry, our fun question of the week. It was Groundhog's Day this week, which got us thinking about the movie by the same name, Groundhog's Day, which when you see it on TV, I don't know about you, but I usually kind of stop and watch for a while. So our fun question, what's the movie that makes you stop and watch every single time?
Well, ironically enough, it's not Groundhog Day. I've seen it once. I've never seen it again. And
you don't stop and watch if it's on TV?
I don't, and it really, frankly, didn't grab me all that much when it was on. So I've moved on from Groundhog Day. Now, I'm like everybody else in America. When I see Shawshank Redemption, I stop. When I see Home Alone, I stop. When I see The Magnificent Seven, I stop. But let me give you one that's off the wall. Let's go all the way back to 1946.
Whoa.
The best years of our lives, post-World War II movie about 3 soldiers coming home, adjusting to life after the war. An unbelievable movie. Every time I see it, I see something new. The scenes and the relationships and the acting. It's just a fabulous movie. If you've never seen it, go see it. If you've seen it, go watch it again. If you're flipping channels and you see it, stop.
Is that an AMC? Is that where I need to go watch it?
It's on there quite a bit.
Okay,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. I was gonna say. Okay, mine harkens back to my younger days. It's 16 Candles. I love 16 Candles. I'll watch it every chance I get, and I tell
That's
you.
the redhead, right?
Yeah, Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is.
Never saw it. I've never seen it. What do you mean do?
Watch it the next time you see it.
I've seen Breakfast Club.
Well, that's a good one too. But I tell you what, this is how much I love 16 Candles. We've probably had this conversation on video. But women, unlike men, do not usually think in movie quotes. A lot of men think in movie quotes. Women don't process movies most of the time that way. But there are tons of quotes from 16 Candles that I trot out all the time. So
Really?
I love 16 Candles.
Give me one.
I don't think I can. My favorite ones are probably not appropriate for video. So
Well, maybe I do need to watch it.
it's fun. It's a fun movie. All right, Barry, let's, because all the ones going through my head right now are the bad ones that I can't actually use on video. Okay, let's get serious here for a second.
Scandalous uprising in Clay Center, Kansas. Who knew?
All right, a slight deviation on our scale of 1 to 10, but let's talk about your interest scale. What recruit ranks highest on your interest scale? We've got OU, we've got OSU, we've got high school guys. Is there a guy that you've heard about that's going to sign on Wednesday that you're interested to see how they pan out?
Well, I think I'm like everybody else in Oklahoma State land. There's a team void of running backs, and they get the JUCO kid from Butler Community College, Chris Carson, headed to Georgia. Oklahoma State gets him, pulls him away from the Bulldogs, and looks like it's his position to lose now. So, OSU's had decent success with the JUCO tailback ranks. Tyreek Hill was a sensation this past season. Dantrell Savage a few years ago, a very good player. So, Cowboys have had good luck with the JUCO ranks at tailback. We'll see if Chris Carson can come through.
Yeah, I'll go with 2 guys that I'm interested in, and one may become a Sooner. The other one already is D.D. Westbrook, a guy that was a midseason entry wide receiver at OU, an area, a position that the Sooners are sorely in need of guys who can help. He's a guy that's little more mature age-wise. Should be a little bit more of a refined product, but they're going to need some serious help at wide receiver if they really want to run that air raid. So how good is D.D. Westbrook is a big question of mine. And then I would also say Josh Weraboko Alali, a local guy, Cassidy, who's narrowed his list to Ohio State, UCLA, and Oklahoma. Offensive lineman, one of the best in the country. Just as a local guy, always kind of interested to see how those guys pan out, and especially if he ends up here locally, we'll get to see that up close and personal. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.